Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing something that's actually been on my mind for quite a while now, and that is the future of The Walking Dead, the ride at Thorpe Park Resort. So if you guys do go on to enjoy the video, make sure to like, subscribe, anything that makes me know you guys like my content. If you guys are watching this video right now, I'll actually be in Iceland, so yeah, whoopee, lucky me. But obviously, I know I did say in my last video that I wouldn't be, making anything like this while I'm away, but yeah, I've changed my mind, so lucky you guys. So yeah, with all that rambling out of the way, let's get right into the video. Okay, so heading into my first theory then, I have the potential return of X. Now obviously, when The Walking Dead, the ride was officially announced to be within the X building, a lot of people were kind of disappointed that obviously X wouldn't return. Obviously, it was quite a beloved ride for a lot of people at Thorpe Park. Yes, it wasn't the biggest, it wasn't the grandest, but it was something that a lot of people hold it close to their heart. And obviously, when they found out the Walking Dead ride, was coming into that building, a lot of people were not really only nervous, but were kind of sad that this ride was actually leaving the resort. Now, obviously, with there been a lot of talk recently about IPs and everything potentially running out, I kind of dawned on me that potentially could we see The Walking Dead be removed from Thorpe Park completely at some point, because we obviously know that the new Black Mirror experience coming for 2020 will actually be within the Living Nightmare building. Living Nightmare has been confirmed to have actually been left alone now, and they aren't really going to return to it. So, could this mean that The Walking Dead at Thorpe Park Resort is actually coming to a close? Could this brand new Black Mirror attraction be the beginning of the end for The Walking Dead? I can't really see them, bringing back the, Do or Die, plainly because obviously that was so attached to the whole Walking Dead brand, and only having one Walking Dead maze I don't really think would work. And obviously it has been at the park for 3 years now, The Walking Dead, for Fright Night, so potentially could we see Fright Nights, being the starter for this kind of removal of The Walking Dead. Now obviously, ride IP, contracts are generally more lengthed out and more over a longer period of time. Obviously, this ride only did release a couple of years back, so it wouldn't really, surprise me if this is a couple of years down the road. However, obviously, at some point that IP will run out, and I can't really imagine it being as long as something like Saw. Obviously, with the minor kind of scale and the temporary kind of feel to the actual theme of it. Obviously, they didn't really make too many changes to the outside of the building. The only real thing they did was already add the watchtower and obviously the queue line, so it didn't really feel too permanent. So yeah, potentially could we actually see X returning in some way, shape or form. Now obviously, if this was to happen, I do not believe that X will return as it was. I think it may return with a similar theme to it, like a nightclub potentially, but I do not actually think that it will come back exactly as it was, obviously because they had to change everything back inside. Obviously, they may give it a brand new paint job, and I actually kind of did think back when the initialising teasers actually were first released that this could actually be what Thorpe Park were trying to do, kind of trying to revert this back to X somehow. And I did actually make a video a couple of weeks back talking about what X could potentially be like if it did return. Potentially it could have some kind of, space theme to it. Obviously much like Galactica, new, kind of way of space travelling, because obviously back when X was first announced, obviously it's rethemed from X No Way Out. It wasn't really the time that Thorpe Park and a lot of, parks were actually giving themed experiences. Obviously, I think it was just before the Swarm actually was released. So obviously since then we've had loads of themed experiences come into Thorpe Park and also around the UK, so it wouldn't really surprise me if they did go for more of a themed experience, if they did try and bring this back, because obviously X has always kind of had the name kind of keep the same, but it's always kind of changed your kind of theme of it. Obviously when it went from the kind of military thing to the nightclub, it kept the same generic name really, but obviously you could kind of gather that the theme had obviously changed, so potentially something like this could be actually something that Thorpe Park are working on. I can't really see this being too soon. I can see this maybe being a couple of years down the line. Obviously they're still probably going to have a little bit left on that Walking Dead contract for the IP, and whether or not they choose to renew it I don't know, but obviously with the backlash with a lot of people saying they want X back, could Thorpe Park potentially be like, look, we don't really want to carry this IP on, we want to revert it back to what we used to have, to kind of please the fans a little bit more, or Thorpe Park get money hungry and they just keep it because obviously the GP absolutely love IPs. So yeah, that is also a possibility as well. But I will talk about what Thorpe Park could potentially do if they did keep it in literally just a second. But yeah, that's kind of my main theory that could potentially happen with The Walking Dead in the future. If they did kind of remove it, I don't really see them putting anything else back in there. Obviously, because it would, kind of piss a lot of people off, because they've taken this thing out that not too many people liked, and they're replacing it with something completely different to what people actually wanted. So I don't think that that will happen. I think if they are going to return something to this building other than The Walking Dead, I do actually believe it will be X. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be discussing is actually what if Thorpe Park did actually keep The Walking Dead the ride and did renew the contract when it eventually does end. Now, obviously, there are many things they can potentially do with this ride. Obviously, different things they could possibly add. Obviously, there's a lot of space within that building and there's a lot more potential theming that could be added within the actual ride system itself. Because obviously, when you stop at that kind of stop section with all the screens, it did kind of feel a little bit odd that weren't actually in cover, and I think if Thorpe Park did want to expand this, that is something they could work on. Potentially even adding the backwards section to the ride back into it, because obviously back when it was X No Way Out, there was a backwards section that took you back into the station. So potentially something like that could actually be added within The Walking Dead, because I feel like if it was, it would fit absolutely perfectly, and that's what a lot of people actually thought would happen with The Walking Dead when it came to the attraction. They thought, oh my god, they're going to bring back the backwards section because it will work so well with this kind of horror theme. So hopefully maybe they add that into there, but that would obviously be if they are deadly serious about keeping this attraction. But obviously it hasn't really gone down too well with Enthusiast. But obviously the GP absolutely love it. The GP will eat up any IP they can possibly get. But yeah, that's not really something that I can think happening to this ride. Obviously, you know, a lot of people want it to be back, you know, back to X. A lot of people are going to kind of push for that to happen, obviously, rather than adding things to this attraction. But if they are serious with it and they do want to keep it, I would like them to add a couple of things to it within the next couple of years. Okay, so last thing I'm going to be talking about in today's video is something that may be a little bit out of the blue and probably a little bit far-fetched, and that is the potential addition of a Black Mirror attraction. Now, obviously, this year at Thorpe Park, we are getting the Black Mirror Labyrinth, which a lot of people are saying will stand alone as its own attraction, its own kind of story. So potentially, could they be going down the route of The Walking Dead when adding a kind of small attraction to kind of test the waters a little bit? And if it does go down well with Enthusiasts as well as the GP, they'll then try and expand on it a little bit more. And I do think this will go down a little bit better than The Walking Dead, obviously because, you know, this will be a more unique experience, much like the episodes of the show. So I don't think that it will be a problem to too many, you know, enthusiasts. I feel like once you're actually in there, you'll completely forget that it's even an IP at all, and it'll kind of feel like its own attraction. Obviously, the only thing that really is going to be branded with this is obviously the name and some potential Easter eggs within it. So potentially, could they use this building to actually utilise it into a Black Mirror attraction? Obviously, I did something similar with The Walking Dead. Obviously, I had Living Nightmare in the extension, obviously queue line, or what used to be the extension queue line for X, and then obviously they then brought The Walking Dead the ride in a year later. So potentially something like this could happen. I'm not necessarily saying that it could be a year later, but potentially down the road, if Thorpe Park do want to kind of add this stuff in here, I think it could be very cool. And even having it as a kind of a side name of X could be very interesting, very cool. If they kind of had like an X attraction with the kind of Black Mirror branding behind it, as it's been its own story, could be very cool and be a very cool twist on the former attraction. Like I said, that does fit in what I kind of said last theory about X, is kind of the fact that if they are going to bring it back, they will have it probably with some kind of story to kind of fit in with the kind of thematic experiences they are trying to provide. So something like that to attach to Black Mirror could very much work. Okay then, so that is the end of today's video. I hope you did enjoy it. Definitely let me know down in the comments whether you want any more videos like this, because I could do this for loads of rides, not just at Thorpe Park, but obviously all around the UK as well. So yeah, definitely let me know if you want any more of this. But yeah, with all that said, I'm not going to ramble on anymore. I will see you guys later.